somewhere in the United States, there is a file that has never been fully opened. It was sealed the same week Marilyn Monroe died. The FBI had been watching her for years, listening to her phone calls, following her every move, building a file so thick, so detailed, that parts of it are still classified. Today, why would the most powerful intelligence agency in the world spend years obsessing over a movie star? That is exactly the right question. 1962. America looked perfect from the outside. Elvis on the radio, Ed Sullivan on television, men in suits, women in pearls, the American dream in full color. But underneath all of it, the Cold War was suffocating this country. Soviet missiles were aimed at American cities. School children were hiding under their desks. Every family in America went to bed wondering, will we wake up tomorrow? And in the middle of all that fear, two names made people feel safe, made people feel alive: John Fitzgerald Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe. One was America's hope, the other was America's dream. And between them, behind closed doors, away from every camera and every microphone, the most dangerous secret in America was unfolding. They first crossed paths in the late 1950s. Hollywood parties, New York charity galas, mutual friends in very high places. Peter Lawford, Kennedy's brother-in-law and Hollywood insider, was the bridge between two worlds, the White House and the silver screen, and both John Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe passed through that bridge often. But in 1961, when Kennedy became president, everything changed. Power is the most dangerous drug in the world, and Marilyn Monroe could not look away. February 1962, Palm Springs, California. Bing Crosby's private estate, a paradise in the middle of the desert. Swimming pools, orange groves, and walls that were never supposed to talk. The president was there. Off the record, no press, no public schedule. Marilyn was there too. What was said that weekend, what happened behind those closed doors, we will never fully know, because everyone who was there either went silent or died. But this we know: Marilyn came back from Palm Springs changed. There was a new light in her eyes, a new certainty. One night she leaned close to her dearest friend and whispered, "One day, I'm going to move into the White House." Her friend laughed. Marilyn didn't. Now, before we go any further, I need to tell you something about Marilyn Monroe that Hollywood never wanted you to know. This woman was not who they sold you. She ran her own production company. She fought the studios alone and won. She negotiated her own contracts. She read Proust. She read Dostoevsky. She wrote poetry in her private notebooks. Marilyn Monroe was one of the sharpest minds in any room she walked into. And powerful men, men with secrets, felt safe around her. That was her gift, and ultimately, her curse. Because in early 1962, Marilyn started a new diary. Small, red, ordinary-looking. Inside it, she wrote everything. Things she heard, things she was told, things that were whispered to her in private rooms by men who thought she was just a pretty face. Cuba, the mob, Cold War operations that were never supposed to reach civilian ears, and Kennedy names. Plural, because by the spring of 1962, a second Kennedy had entered Marilyn's life. Bobby Kennedy, the president's brother, the Attorney General of the United States. The exact nature of their relationship, if there was one, remains one of the best-kept secrets in American history. Nobody confirms, nobody fully denies. But someone who knew Washington in those years said this, and I want you to remember this line. Everyone in Washington knew. Nobody talked, because talking was dangerous. May 19th, 1962. Madison Square Garden. New York City. 15,000 people packed that arena. The biggest names in American entertainment were there. And then, the lights dimmed. A single spotlight hit the stage. Marilyn Monroe walked out. She was wearing a dress that looked like it was made of light itself. And 15,000 people went completely silent. She leaned into the microphone, and she breathed, "Happy birthday, Mr. President." John Kennedy laughed. Relaxed, easy, as if nothing was wrong. As if his wife, Jackie Kennedy, wasn't noticeably absent that evening. But in the back rooms of Washington, that performance sent shockwaves. Lines had been crossed. The secret was no longer a secret. And within 12 days of that performance, Marilyn Monroe's phone went silent. First John, then Bobby. Not a single call returned. Not a single message answered. She had been cut off, completely, deliberately. That summer, everyone who saw Marilyn said the same thing. She was not herself. She couldn't sleep. She was drowning in prescription pills. She was angry, and she was scared, but she still had that red diary. August 4th, 1962. Brentwood, Los Angeles. A quiet Saturday evening. Marilyn Monroe made several phone calls that day. Her voice was tired, but calm. She had plans for the following week, a new film, a fresh start. She went to her bedroom early. Her housekeeper, Eunice Murray, noticed the light under the door, that thin golden line, and thought nothing of it. Now. Here is where the official story starts to fall apart. Eunice Murray told police she discovered Marilyn's body at midnight. Then she changed the time. Then she changed it again. Over the years, she gave 3 different versions of that night. 3. Years later, a reporter asked her directly, "Why did you wait so long to call the police?" Eunice Murray paused, smiled, just slightly, and said, "You already know the answer to that." And then she closed the subject, forever. Marilyn's psychiatrist, Dr. Ralph Greenson, arrived at that house hours before the police were called. Why was he called? What did he see? His official statement left that question completely unanswered. Multiple witnesses placed Bobby Kennedy in the Brentwood area that same evening. His official schedule showed him 400 miles away in San Francisco. The LAPD took those witness statements, filed them, and then those files disappeared. A retired LAPD detective said this years later. Some investigations close before they ever really begin. This was one of them. And the red diary. Police searched the house. No diary. Her lawyers searched. No diary. Investigators searched for decades. No diary. Gone. As completely and deliberately as the phone records from that week. As the witness reports from that night. As the answers to every question that has followed Marilyn Monroe's death for 60 years. Marilyn Monroe was 36 years old. She died knowing things that powerful men needed to stay buried. Whether that knowledge had anything to do with her death, we cannot say for certain. But we can say this: the official story has never fully held up. Not in 1962, not today. The red diary is still missing. Certain FBI files are still sealed. And the people who knew the full truth are long gone. What do you believe happened that night? Do you trust the official story, or do you think something far darker took place behind those closed doors? Tell us in the comments. And if you want more stories like this one, stories they buried, doors they locked, secrets they thought we'd never find, subscribe, because we are just getting